شو بك دخلك شو في؟
شو بنين 3 ايام مش على شغل، كله لاقوا شغل الا انا، اللي ما لاقى شغل فل واللي لاقى شغل تجوز.
خلص طول بالك بكره بيمشي الحال.
بكره بيمشي الحال؟ انت ليش شكلك هيك؟
ليش شكلي هيك؟ خلص ما تذكرني، صار لي من الصبح ناطره الاذان ليسخن وانجا لحق تدوروا نص ساعه على الكهرباء، صار لي الشهر ناطره هذا الديت بس منحوس. فايته اشوف اذا سخنت المي.
ايه ماما قلت لكم رح اطلع لعندكم، شو بكم ليه هيك عم تعملوا؟ وبعدين ليه كل مره بتقولي لي عم بتهرب؟ انا ليه بدي اتهرب منكم؟ ما اشتقت لكم كمان وبدي اشوفكم. وبعدين بتحسسيني كانك مش عايشه بهالبلد يا ماما. ما بتعرفي ما في ولا محطه بنزين فاتحه، صار لي من الصبح عم ببرم على الترمبات ما لقيت ولا ترمبه فاتحه. شو بدي اقول لها؟ امتى بدي اطلع؟
بكره بتطلع.
وبعدين بعرف حظي يعني، بس بكره رح شوف اذا حدا طالع صوبكم يطلعني معه. ويلا ان شاء الله بتهون. باي.
بكره بتلاقي حدا يطلع. اوه
بيسلموا على ليلى.
يا عم اتركوني الي شهر بدور على علبة الدواء وما كنت لاقيها. بالاخير قلت الحمد لله اجى ابن جيراني ولقي لي اياها، قلت كتير منيح ارتحت. بس شو عمل ابن جيراننا؟ دفعني حقه قد مرتين حق السوق. طب انا هاي علبة الدواء هاي اللي شايفينها هاي رح نص معاش عليها. طب انا اخر الشهر كيف بكفي لاخر الشهر؟
وقف قلبي اصلا انقطعت المي، ما بصيرتكم ولو عن جد ما كيف بدي اظهر شو شكلي؟
لك كيف ما كنت حلوه.
من
معقول نحن عن جد في شعب منحوس اكثر؟
عن جد ما بعرف، ما بفتكر انه في شباب بيدفعوا ثمن الفساد ببلادهم قدنا.
هات لنشوف اذا في حدا انحس.
شو عم تعمل؟
سيري
Dear youth of the world, we are 4 friends from Lebanon, desperate about the dreadful impacts of corruption on our daily lives. And we were wondering if you guys are suffering from the same problem too. If this email reaches you, please share with us your stories on how is corruption affecting you? What did you do about it? What message would you give to youth suffering from corruption around the world? Then maybe we can gather our stories to make an inspirational documentary about youth victims who became anti-corruption fighters. Warm regards, Youth Against Corruption of Lebanon.
I believe corruption is in every part of the Venezuelan system. We are born as young people in a culture that not only permits but promotes corruption in every part of society. And it is present between human beings, but more importantly between the people, between citizens and their institutions. Institutions are filled with corruption, with other illegal activities that foster an anti-value system that basically is a barrier, is a wall that doesn't allow, that creates a block for people, for young people especially, to move forward, to be able to have basic attention to their needs in terms of public and citizen activities. Since 2016, I co-founded an organization called 1001 Ideas, a social innovation community with a focus on youth. And with 1001 Ideas, we have developed research projects, one of them called La Lupa or Lupa Report, or Looking Glass, I think is the translation. And in that, we investigated how does corruption as a social phenomenon occurs, especially in young people. This is available in our website and in other platforms, but with that, we also started to create or promote projects, social entrepreneurship projects related to the fight against corruption and the promotion of transparency. It's in this step around 2018 where I'm in the Summit of the Americas in Peru, where I met Integral Initiative International and I become part of the Youth Council and the Youth Network to fight against corruption and to promote the IACC, the International Anti-Corruption Court. 1001 Ideas has been an advocate, and me and myself personally have been an advocate for the International Anti-Corruption Court, an international body that can create a jurisdiction to enjail or to address the grand corruption and kleptocracy all around the world. I have been able to be a part of this with 1001 Ideas to promote other projects not only in Venezuela but in the Americas, with other organizations linked with 1,001 Ideas. And more recently, I had the opportunity to participate in the World Justice Forum and to be a part also of the panel promoting the IACC, the International Anti-Corruption Court. This is a fight, or this is a mission and an objective and a purpose that is only just beginning, and that we are committed as 1,001 Ideas and me as a Venezuelan and also a human being to continue the fight against corruption and the promotion of transparency in the region and the world.
Corruption not only affected my life, but it affected my whole family's life. And once there was a bomb actually right under my chair, which resulted in security dogs checking my office every now and then. Corruption affected my life in various perspectives. On a daily basis, I would get threatening messages. Not only me, but even my family. There came a point when my family were threatened, both in our offices, even at home. It also affected my mental health because I was, instead of staying focused on my work, I would pay attention to the threats. I would be scared. My biggest achievement was as General Director for High Government Officials Asset Registration and Verification, where my team and I wouldn't like to take all the credit myself, but we as a team developed a legal framework. We met with parliamentarians, we convinced them to pass it. It was eventually passed by the president, as a result of which around 17,000 government officials and in some revenue generating ministries, Ministry of Finance, for instance, all their employees had registered their assets, not only theirs, but their immediate family members as well. So as a result of which we, for the very first time in Afghanistan, we had a history, a database of every government official's asset, where it came from, their history, the background. In terms of awareness, not only in terms of the legal framework and laws, but in terms of awareness, we would hold meetings with media, we would have interviews, we would interact with the community, Afghans in general, from various platforms to basically aware them of the ongoing systematic corruption happening in the country and how to tackle that, the corruption. Well, the message I share comes from experience. We usually, especially youth, we often ignore corruption because it is such a systematic, big issue that has basically covered every aspect of our structures. And it's too big for us to fight against. But if we narrow it down, it is our daily tiny habits that actually prevents corruption. We are the biggest drive to fight against corruption.
Corruption has affected my life in more ways than I can explain. What is running late for a meeting? Because the taxi I was in was stopped by a police officer who was demanding bribe from the driver, or because my sister could not get medical attention at a government hospital because there were no drugs to treat her, or because students within rural parts of Liberia attending government institutions are subjected to sitting on the floor because there are no desks, or because there are no qualified teachers there to teach them. The price that I'm paying for corruption is so grave, there is nothing that I can attach to it. I work with Accountability Lab Liberia, a civil society organization that works with active citizens, responsible leaders, and strong institutions. At Accountability Lab Liberia, we believe that the use of creativity and innovation are key in the fight against corruption. and also catchy for young people. So we run a campaign called the Voice to Rep campaign, which uses music as a tool for social change. Music is a language that everybody understands, so why not use it to fight corruption? So we work with upcoming and underground artists where they are trained and mentored to write lyrics and also supported to create songs around anti-corruption, around the rule of law, around good governance, ways citizens can be able to use their voices to fight corruption.
In my country, corruption is the rule, not the exception. Corruption allows that politicians divert millions and millions of dollars that were originally destined for education, health, and housing. Corruption allows that governments and companies commit many environmental crimes, and the worst part is that this happens without any consequences.
Most of the time, the negative effects of corruption go unnoticed or are so tedious that it's difficult to perceive them as a direct consequence of poor public management. I have grown up in a country with very low quality in public education, where there are no real access to help, where public safety is not guaranteed, and in a country where the laws are not enforced. And all of this mainly due to the fact that public institutions are plagued by private interests instead of serving the common good. A large number of people and citizens have lost hope that things will change and simply assume that this is how things work in Mexico and in the world. I came to the realization that the solution to the problem had to come from civil society. This is how in 2018 we co-founded an organization called Naheed with the exclusive purpose of helping the authorities to apply the law and punish those who commit crimes of corruption. In this small period of time, we have made great progress, such as achieving the first judicial recognition of victims of corruption as procedural parties. This is fundamental because it allows citizens to get involved in the fight and allows investigation of great corruption cases to be transparent.
From Naheed, we are fighting corruption through strategic litigation. We have been working really hard to try to achieve that judges and prosecutors recognize the legal standing of NGOs as victims of corruption. In 2019, Naheed won the first precedent in which an NGO was recognized as victim of corruption in a huge scandal of corruption in Mexico. Additionally, Naheed has developed a chatbot called Teo, in which citizens can report corruption cases, and then Naheed will connect these cases into the local attorney general offices.
Yes, it's probably easier to destroy inefficient institutions than to fix them. However, the only way to really have institutions that work free from corruption is for civil society not only to monitor institutions but also to build capacities within. It is imperative that we assume that these institutions are part of society and they were created to serve the common good, and consequently, the citizens, all of us, would have to assume and adopt them as part of each member.
I cannot say a single episode where corruption has affected directly my life. But I'm aware that this is not the case for many young people in Italy who have been denied access to proper healthcare, quality jobs, and quality education. For example, we still don't know today how public money has been spent during pandemics for health and social purposes. We still don't know how COVID recovery money will be spent in the future. And this is the perfect environment for corrupt and corruptors and for members of organized crime to make their own business. Since 2016, Libera, together with Gruppo Bele, has been supporting the action of many young people across Italy who want to know what's happening in their community and bring about change. This anti-corruption initiative is called Common Monitorial Communities. Our goal is to develop, connect, and empower monitorial communities active against corruption. What we do is community building and anti-corruption training to learn how to monitor the common good. This means learning how to monitor how public administration organize themselves, how they spend public money, how they make decisions, and safeguard the common interest and the common good. With the European project YouMonitor, we have made a further step. We have created non-formal educational activities to engage youth against corruption by building a culture of integrity and by doing civic monitoring to safeguard the common good in their community. With Monitor, we have met a lot of young people in 3 countries, in Italy, France, and Germany. We have met them at summer camps, in schools, during trainings and youth exchanges. Over the years, we have seen the impact of what we do. Monitoring is a powerful action that allows you to achieve transparency around a topic that you care about and to keep out the interest and greed of the corrupt and corruptors.
I work as program officer in accountability lab for last 2 years. Talking about the corruption, there is no one particular incident that will clearly define how corruption has affected my life. There has been a lot of instances where I have been delayed or deprived of the basic service just because of the corruptions. For instance, there was a decade-long power cuts in a country, and that was also because of the result of corruption. If we look into the recent incidents such as COVID relief funds or the vaccine distribution or even the election that has just completed, there are many accounts and several such examples of corruptions in it.
So we started a campaign called Integrity Icon that finds, celebrates and connects honest government officials. We aim to generate the debate around the idea of integrity and demonstrate the importance of honesty and personal responsibility. The idea that was started in Nepal in 2014 now has been replicated in 14 different countries.
Hugman Gareli, a former ambassador of the European Union to Ukraine, during the meeting with the participants of the State Builder program, mentioned that the 2 biggest problems of Ukraine are the Big Brother, Russian Federation, who provides the process of colonization, and the absence of the rule of law, which forces corruption and destroys state institutions. State Builder is a program of personal and professional development of young people. The purpose of the program is to create a system of personal and professional development of young people in Ukraine, develop responsible leadership, increase the level of civic engagement of young people, and fight corruption. During the period of realization of the program, more than 1,000 representatives of the most active youth from all over Ukraine learned how the driving forces of the state work. Public authorities, business sector, media, and non-governmental organizations. The participants gained new knowledges, developed their leadership skills, enjoyed the state-building processes. We strongly believe that the problem of spreading corruption can be solved by increasing the level of legal competence of the civil society.
We, as citizens, and especially young people, has the possibility and the potential to be an agent of change, engage in new forms of organization, of mobilization, and also, of course, of advocacy on the terms or on the matter of corruption and transparency. So we can actually be a change if we are part of the solution and not only part of the problem.
So we can prevent corruption by changing tiny little habits, daily habits. We can also help corruption by not taking any part in it.
Speak against corruption, speak against the ills in society, and also take action wherever you are. Be the change that you want to see.
Today, being silent is not an option.
If not us, who? If not now, when? Corruption will not disappear alone.
Remember, there is a whole community of young people all across the world who is supportive of your fight and who work hard towards the same goals of transparency, integrity, and social justice. You are not alone, youth are not alone.
It is upon us to break this chain of corruption. As a youth, we should not only focus on questioning the system or questioning the corruption, but also we should work together to find the solution.
That is why it's necessary to say no to corruption today in order to have corruption-free country in the future.